Hello everyone, welcome. I'm curious, where are you listening to this story from? And what time is it where you are right now? I always find it fascinating to imagine people across the world tuning into the same tale at the same moment. Today, I want to take you on a journey back several centuries into the life of a common resident in the vast and diverse Ottoman Empire, where the sun rises over minarets and bazaars awaken with the sound of merchants calling out their wares, and every street seems to carry a story older than most of the cities you know today. Imagine waking up in a small stone house, perhaps with wooden beams supporting a low ceiling, the walls whitewashed to reflect the summer heat and the winter cold alike. Your morning begins long before the call to prayer pierces the quiet air of the neighborhood, though you know it will soon follow. The smell of fresh bread baking in the nearby communal oven drifts through the open window, mingling with the faint aroma of herbs hanging to dry from the rafters. Breakfast is often a simple affair. A flatbread called ekmek, warm and slightly smoky from the wood-fired oven, dipped in thick, tangy yogurt, or perhaps spread with olive oil and crushed black olives if your household can afford them. Sometimes, a bit of honey sweetens the bread, and on special mornings, a boiled egg or small piece of white cheese called beyaz peynir adds substance. Tea is not yet a morning ritual for everyone, as it will become later. Instead, water is drawn from a nearby fountain, carried in a heavy clay jug, the cool liquid washing away sleep and preparing the body for the day ahead. Stepping outside, the streets are narrow and winding, often paved with worn stones smoothed by generations of footsteps. The marketplace is already alive, even this early. Merchants arrange their stalls carefully, balancing baskets of bright red pomegranates, deep green cucumbers, and golden heaps of dried apricots. Spices, ground into fine powders and stacked in little pyramids, release scents of cumin, cinnamon, and allspice, captivating every passerby. Children run along the streets, chasing small wooden hoops or playing games that have no name in history books, laughter echoing off the walls, blending with the rhythmic clatter of a blacksmith hammering at an iron anvil. Your neighbors greet each other with respectful nods or brief words. In the Ottoman neighborhoods, community bonds are strong, and even the smallest household plays a role in the fabric of daily life. Perhaps an older man sits at the corner, rolling tobacco into thin pipes, offering a quiet smile to anyone who passes, while women carry water from the fountain, balancing the heavy clay pots on their heads with remarkable ease, chatting softly about household chores, the weather, or news from the city's governor. As the morning deepens, work begins in earnest. You might be a carpenter, shaping wood into furniture or doors for the growing city. Your hands are already calloused from years of handling the saw and chisel. Or perhaps you are a weaver, threading cotton or wool onto a loom, creating textiles that will be sold at the bazaar, or sent as tribute to distant parts of the empire. The rhythm of labor is punctuated by occasional moments of curiosity. A horse-drawn cart clattering by, laden with sacks of grain from Anatolia. A group of traveling storytellers, their colorful robes and animated gestures attracting a small crowd, offering tales of faraway lands and heroic battles. Meals are practical but nourishing. Mid-morning often brings a small snack of dried fruit, a handful of nuts, or perhaps a piece of cheese, eaten quickly before returning to work. The midday sun climbs higher, and the first call to prayer echoes from the minarets, a reminder to pause, to wash, to bow, and to reflect, even briefly, in a day filled with toil and motion. After the prayer, the streets take on a different energy. Merchants shout louder, negotiating prices with a mixture of charm and insistence, while customers haggle, weighing the cost and quality with practiced eyes. Children, having finished their simple lessons or chores, may be sent to run errands, fetch a specific herb, deliver a message, or carry a small bundle to a neighbor. Women, aside from household duties, may gather in quiet corners of the neighborhood to embroider linens, exchange remedies for common ailments, or share news of weddings and births. And while labor dominates most of the day, moments of leisure are woven carefully into the schedule. Perhaps a man visits a tea house, sitting cross-legged on a woven mat, sipping weak coffee or strong black tea, engaging in quiet games of tavla with friends, or listening to a recitation of poetry, each verse invoking the glory of the Sultan, the beauty of the city, or the trials of love and life. Evenings promise a slower pace. As families return home, the air cooling, the smell of stews and soups rising from kitchens. Lentils, chickpeas, onions, garlic, and slow-cooked meat combine in bubbling cauldrons, filling modest homes with aromas that signal the approach of dinner. When the day's labor is rewarded with nourishment, conversation, and the comfort of routine. The life of an ordinary Ottoman resident is neither hurried nor idle, but it is filled with patterns, rituals, and the small, tangible pleasures of survival, creation, and community. And even in a single day, there is an extraordinary tapestry of experiences. The textures of bread and textiles, the calls and laughter of the marketplace, the gentle discipline of prayer and work, the occasional thrill of news or storytelling, all merging to form a rhythm that is uniquely theirs, yet somehow timeless. And as night begins to settle, lanterns lit along narrow streets, shadows stretching across the stones, you might pause to reflect on what you have seen, what you have smelled, what has passed through your hands and eyes. A day both ordinary and extraordinary, a life lived within the contours of an empire that stretches across continents and centuries. As the day progresses, the sun reaches its zenith, casting short, sharp shadows across the streets and alleys, and the city hums with a steady rhythm of life that is at once ordinary and mesmerizing. You may find yourself pausing for a brief moment in the shade of a tall, narrow building, feeling the heat radiating from the stone walls and the cobblestones beneath your feet, while nearby, vendors adjust their colorful awnings to shield their goods from the sun's intensity. It is during these hours that the air becomes filled with a different kind of sound. The rhythmic tapping of metal, the creaking of wooden carts being loaded or unloaded, the soft murmur of voices bargaining, haggling, and negotiating, all woven together into an auditory tapestry unique to each neighborhood, yet unmistakably Ottoman. Meals during this time are practical but sustaining, intended to give strength for the labor that still stretches ahead. Bread remains a staple, often accompanied by dried fruits like figs and apricots, roasted chickpeas for protein, and sometimes small pieces of smoked or salted fish if the household has access to a nearby river or the coast. A common drink, a lightly fermented yogurt drink called ayran, cools and refreshes, its tartness perfectly complementing the rich flavors of the food. In the workshops and bazaars, the pace of work adapts to the sun. Carpentry continues, each precise cut and plane of wood guided by years of experience and intuition. The scent of sawdust mixes with the tang of metal, as blacksmiths hammer iron into tools, nails, and horseshoes, each strike echoing through the air, a sound both familiar and reassuring to anyone who has walked these streets for decades. Women in the households may be found grinding spices, kneading dough, or preparing vegetables for the evening meal, the sounds of chopping, pounding, and stirring forming a gentle percussion beneath the louder city noises. Children, now released from morning chores or lessons, engage in their own forms of amusement, skipping, running, or rolling small wooden wheels along the streets, occasionally stopping to observe older artisans at work, wide-eyed and curious about the skills and crafts that sustain their community. These moments, fleeting as they may be, carry a subtle magic, a connection between generations, a sense that even the simplest acts of daily life are woven into a larger tapestry that defines the neighborhood. As the afternoon deepens, a quieter rhythm emerges. Some adults may retreat to the shade of a garden or courtyard, resting briefly on woven mats or wooden benches, perhaps sipping water or lightly sweetened tea, allowing the body to recover before the final stretch of labor. It is during these hours that the importance of social bonds becomes evident. Neighbors exchange small gifts, share news, or discuss upcoming religious ceremonies, weddings, or births. Each interaction, though seemingly mundane, reinforces the intricate web of relationships that holds the community together, ensuring that everyone knows their role, their responsibilities, and the network of support available to them. The call to prayer signals another pause, a moment to wash, reflect, and reconnect with something larger than the immediate concerns of labor and sustenance. And as the sound fades, the city resumes its steady rhythm, preparing for the transition from day to evening. Evening brings a noticeable change in atmosphere. The sunlight softens, casting golden hues across the city, illuminating domes, minarets, and the tops of trees in small gardens tucked between buildings. Families gather to prepare dinner, a meal that is often the most elaborate of the day. Lentil stews simmer with onions, garlic, and aromatic spices, while chunks of meat, if available, slowly cook until tender, releasing rich fragrances that fill every corner of the household. Vegetables, freshly harvested or purchased from local markets, are chopped and sautéed, sometimes combined with grains like bulgur or rice, creating nourishing and flavorful dishes. Bread remains a central element, torn by hand and dipped into stews or yogurt, a simple act that feels almost sacred after a long day of work. The meal is not only sustenance but also a time for conversation, storytelling, and laughter, as families discuss the events of the day, plans for the week, or memories passed down from elders. Each bite, each sip, is part of a ritual that combines nourishment with connection, grounding residents in the patterns of daily life while reinforcing their sense of identity and belonging. After dinner, leisure activities take center stage. In some neighborhoods, men may gather in small groups to play tavla, exchanging strategy, humor, and occasional wagers, while others may visit coffee houses or tea houses, listening to recitations of poetry or stories from faraway lands. Children, once cleaned and fed, continue their games in courtyards or quiet streets, often accompanied by the soft hum of conversation or the distant call of evening prayers from the minarets. Music, if present, is gentle, often a single stringed instrument accompanying a quietly sung song, its melodies weaving through the night air, carrying tales of love, loss, and adventure, or simply the simple joys of life observed in a bustling empire. Street vendors may still wander, offering snacks like roasted chestnuts or sweet pastries, their calls mingling with the soft footfalls of citizens returning home, creating a layered soundscape that is both lively and soothing, a testament to the enduring rhythm of community life. As night deepens, lanterns are lit along streets and in homes, casting warm, flickering glows on stone walls and narrow passages, guiding residents safely and creating pockets of light amidst the dark. The city quiets gradually, yet there is never complete silence. The occasional clatter of a cart, the distant bark of a dog, or the soft laughter of a child returning from play continues to punctuate the night. In the home, candles or small oil lamps illuminate rooms where families engage in evening prayers, read or recite poetry, or simply sit together, reflecting on the day's events. Sleep approaches as a gentle, inevitable companion, the body tired from labor and the mind filled with memories, sights, sounds, and aromas of another day lived in the vast and diverse Ottoman Empire, where every street, every meal, and every gesture carries meaning, sustaining not just the body but the very essence of life within a timeless rhythm of community, work, and ritual. As the days pass and the seasons slowly shift across the empire, life for an ordinary resident adapts in subtle yet profound ways, each change bringing with it new rhythms, responsibilities, and pleasures. In the early months of spring, the air carries a freshness that awakens the senses. The scent of budding flowers from small gardens, the gentle rustle of leaves as they stretch toward the sun, and the crisp morning breezes that slide between buildings, refreshing those who rise early. Markets begin to display an abundance of fresh produce, signaling the end of the winter scarcity. Tender greens, radishes, and aromatic herbs replace the preserved vegetables that sustained families during colder months, and the sight of plump, juicy strawberries or early cherry springed. As summer arrives, the city transforms under the relentless heat. Streets shimmer with sunlight, and the stone and plaster of buildings radiate warmth long after the sun has passed its peak. Water becomes even more precious, carried from fountains or wells with careful attention, and meals are adjusted to accommodate the climate. Light soups, fresh vegetables, and yogurt-based dishes replace heavier winter stews, and families often eat earlier in the day to avoid cooking in the hottest hours. In gardens and courtyards, small fruit trees offer shade and sustenance, apricots, figs, and mulberries providing quick nourishment for children at play. The call to prayer continues to mark the passage of time, but there is an added urgency in the movements of people as they seek shade, water, and rest between labor-intensive hours. The sounds of the city take on a slower cadence, yet there is still vitality. The clatter of carts carrying water, the faint hammering from workshops, and the chatter of neighbors forming an audible layer beneath the more subdued atmosphere of the summer heat. Evening in summer is particularly vibrant, as families and neighbors emerge from their brief retreats during the day. Courtyards become social hubs. Children run freely, laughing and playing games that seem to have no end. Adults share stories, gossip, and observations, often punctuated by bursts of laughter or spirited debate. Street performers, acrobats, and musicians occasionally weave through the neighborhood, providing entertainment that requires little more than curiosity and attention. Meals take on a communal aspect, sometimes eaten outdoors beneath trellises or in small gardens, with the warm air carrying the aroma of roasted vegetables, lentils, and grilled meats. Herbs grown on windowsills or in pots, mint, dill, parsley, add flavor and fragrance, while sweet treats made of honey, nuts, and dried fruits offer subtle indulgences after the main course. Lanterns and candles are lit earlier than in other seasons, their soft glow creating intimate pockets of light, guiding footsteps along winding alleys and lending an almost magical quality to the ordinary, nightly routine. Yet life is not without its challenges. The empire, vast as it is, brings occasional threats and uncertainties to even the smallest neighborhood. Markets can fluctuate in supply and price, influenced by distant harvests, taxation, or trade routes disrupted by conflict or weather. Illnesses, though often treated with home remedies and basic care, can be serious, demanding resilience and the support of family and community. The labor-intensive nature of daily life leaves little room for error. A broken tool or a spoiled batch of food has immediate consequences, demanding creativity and perseverance to remedy. And still, amidst these challenges, routines persist, anchored by rhythm, faith, and a sense of shared experience. Residents find comfort in predictability. The rising and setting sun, the calls to prayer, the familiar steps along worn stones, the smells of bread baking or stew simmering, the laughter of children echoing through narrow streets. These moments, simple and repeated daily, form the foundation of life, connecting one person to another across space and time, binding generations in ways that are often invisible but profoundly felt. Night brings another dimension entirely. In the summer, even after the sun has fully set, the air retains warmth and families linger outdoors, sitting on woven mats, sipping water or yogurt drinks, recounting stories or observing the stars slowly revealing themselves above the city. Music occasionally drifts from a distant courtyard, a single stringed instrument accompanying soft singing, offering a gentle, almost hypnotic cadence that complements the slower pace of the evening. Children, finally tired from their play, return to their homes, where lamps illuminate modest rooms filled with family life. Prayers offered quietly, candles flickering across walls, the hushed murmur of conversation before sleep settles. Each home, though small and simple, is a microcosm of the empire itself. A space where work, ritual, nourishment, leisure, and reflection coexist, creating a day rich in texture and experience, despite its apparent ordinariness. As the days unfold, one cannot overlook the importance of neighbors, family, and the subtle networks that structure daily life in an Ottoman neighborhood. Each household is not isolated. Rather, it is part of a tightly interwoven community, where familiarity with one another shapes interactions and establishes an unspoken rhythm of cooperation and mutual aid. Early in the morning, it is common for neighbors to exchange greetings across narrow streets or through open windows, offering quick words about the weather, the condition of the market, or simple inquiries into each other's well-being. Such exchanges, though seemingly trivial, create a sense of shared responsibility and reassurance. Children are often sent to the homes of relatives or trusted neighbors to play, and in doing so, learn not only games but also social customs, manners, and the unspoken rules of interaction that govern community life. Elders, respected for their experience and wisdom, serve as informal guides, offering advice on household management, child rearing, and the occasional dispute over boundaries, property, or resources. Holidays and religious celebrations punctuate the rhythm of life, introducing moments of festivity, indulgence, and shared joy that contrast with the laborious routines of everyday existence. During Ramadan, for instance, the fasting hours are long and the discipline exacting, yet the evenings bring communal dinners, or iftars, where families gather to break their fast together. Streets may be illuminated with lanterns, and neighbors often share dishes, sweets, and drinks, strengthening bonds that extend beyond mere proximity. Other holidays, whether religious, civic, or seasonal, encourage gatherings in courtyards, marketplaces, or communal spaces. Music and storytelling are integral to these occasions. Skilled musicians play stringed instruments and drums, their melodies carrying through alleys, while storytellers recite tales of history, morality, or adventure, captivating audiences both young and old. Even for those engaged in arduous labor, these moments provide a welcome respite, a chance to participate in the sensory and emotional richness of community life. Recreation in daily life is both practical and inventive. Formal entertainment venues exist for those who can access them, but for most, leisure is improvisational, built around limited space and resources. Children may fashion toys from scraps of wood or cloth, inventing elaborate games that test dexterity, imagination, and cooperation. Adults, after the work of the day, may engage in board games like tavla, testing strategy and observation skills, or gather in shaded courtyards to discuss news, literature, or practical matters of trade. Storytelling serves multiple purposes. It entertains, educates, and preserves collective memory. Tales of local heroes, distant battles, or moral lessons are passed along orally, each narrator adding subtle variations, enriching the narrative while grounding it in familiar cultural references. Even seemingly idle conversations between neighbors are rich with information. News of crop yields, upcoming fairs, weather predictions, or social events are exchanged, allowing individuals to navigate daily life with foresight and awareness. The work of ordinary residents is equally multifaceted, combining physical skill, creativity, and knowledge passed down through generations. Artisans, for instance, often begin their training in childhood, apprenticing with relatives or local masters, learning the precise techniques required to craft tools, furniture, textiles, or metal objects. Each object produced is not simply utilitarian. It embodies cultural aesthetics, techniques, and traditions. Weavers, for example, must balance colors, patterns, and textures while maintaining efficiency, producing fabrics that will be used for clothing, household items, or trade. Blacksmiths must gauge the strength and flexibility of iron, tempering it to produce implements that endure daily use. The labor may be demanding, yet it is also a source of pride, with each successful creation reinforcing both skill and reputation. Even farmers, though laboring in fields beyond the immediate urban neighborhood, contribute indirectly to daily life, supplying grain, vegetables, and other essentials to sustain the community. This interdependence reinforces the sense that each individual's efforts are meaningful not only to themselves but to the broader social network. Daily routines are punctuated by small, meaningful rituals that enrich life despite the hardships of work. Morning ablutions and prayer mark the beginning of the day, while meals provide nourishment and structured pauses for reflection. Midday rest in shaded areas allows the body to recover and provides opportunities for informal interaction and observation. Evenings offer relaxation, entertainment, and contemplation, with the fading light highlighting the beauty of architecture, the movement of people, and the distant silhouettes of minarets against the sky. Observing these routines across the seasons reveals a complex pattern. In spring and summer, activity is vigorous, reflecting abundance and longer daylight hours. In autumn, preparation for the coming winter dominates, with preservation of food, repair of tools, and storage of fuel becoming paramount. In winter, labor is adjusted to harsher weather, indoor activities increase, and storytelling, games, and other indoor pursuits take on greater significance. Each season imposes constraints and opportunities, shaping the rhythms, priorities, and experiences of ordinary residents, and highlighting the remarkable adaptability of human communities across time and circumstance. The balance of labor, ritual, and leisure is never static, and each individual navigates their day with a mixture of skill, endurance, and intuition. The sights, sounds, and smells of the city form a constant backdrop. The clatter of carts, the calls of vendors, the aromas of baking bread and simmering stews, the rhythmic tapping of artisans at work, and the laughter and voices of children. Each sensory input carries both practical information and subtle emotional resonance, guiding behavior, sustaining relationships, and contributing to a sense of place and belonging. As night falls, lanterns and oil lamps illuminate homes and streets, creating a network of light that blends the mundane with the magical, casting long shadows, revealing textures, and drawing attention to details often overlooked in daylight. Families settle indoors, children are tucked into bed, and adults reflect on the day's work, anticipating the next, and finding satisfaction in continuity, connection, and the ongoing performance of life within the empire. Even in ordinary days, the ordinary becomes extraordinary when examined closely, revealing the depth, complexity, and richness of human experience embedded in the seemingly simple routines of an Ottoman resident. As the rhythms of daily life continue, one cannot underestimate the subtle joys and routines that fill the hours between labor and rest, moments that give texture and richness to existence. In the afternoons, as the sun begins its slow descent, families often engage in communal or household activities that blend practicality with enjoyment. Women may gather in courtyards to sew, embroider, or mend clothing, their fingers deftly handling needles and thread while exchanging stories, advice, and laughter. The designs stitched into fabrics are not purely decorative. They convey identity, status, and tradition, each pattern reflecting regional customs and personal flair. At the same time, children may be given small tasks, such as fetching herbs or water, preparing simple ingredients for meals, or assisting in minor chores, all of which teach responsibility and skill. Yet these tasks are often interspersed with play. Chasing insects, racing one another along narrow streets, or creating makeshift toys from scraps of wood, cloth, or clay. Even the act of running errands becomes a form of observation and learning, revealing the dynamics of the neighborhood, the flow of commerce, and the intricate social web that binds everyone together. In the marketplaces, the bustle shifts with the afternoon light. Merchants continue their calls, but the focus sometimes turns from sheer commerce to social interaction. A baker may offer a taste of freshly baked bread to a loyal customer. A spice seller may discuss news of distant towns, and neighbors may gather around a fruit stall, sampling the season's ripest offerings. Meals during this time, especially in the warmer months, are designed to be light and refreshing. Soft flatbreads accompanied by olives, fresh herbs, and yogurt provide sustenance without weighing down the body in the heat. In some homes, small bowls of lentils or chickpeas simmer gently on stoves or hearths, seasoned with onions, garlic, and modest amounts of spices. Even simple dishes like these are prepared with care, reflecting both necessity and creativity, turning everyday sustenance into a source of comfort and pleasure. Seasonal fruits such as figs, apricots, and pomegranates may be served as desserts or snacks, offering natural sweetness that delights both children and adults alike. The act of sharing food, even in modest amounts, reinforces bonds within households and neighborhoods, highlighting generosity and interconnectedness as central to daily life. As the sun lowers, social and communal rituals often take center stage. Tea and coffee houses, though not universal, serve as gathering points for those seeking conversation, news, or quiet entertainment. Patrons sit on low cushions or benches, sipping bitter or sweetened beverages, listening to poetry, or engaging in games that sharpen the mind, such as strategy-based board games. In homes, evenings may involve storytelling, an essential and cherished form of leisure. Elders recount tales of ancestors, legendary heroes, or moral parables, each story adapted subtly to reflect the current audience or recent events. These narratives provide entertainment, education, and a sense of continuity, linking generations through shared memory and imagination. Music also plays a role in evening life. A single-stringed instrument, a small drum, or a flute may accompany gentle singing, creating a calm, meditative atmosphere that signals the transition from the day's labors to rest and reflection. Seasonal crafts further enrich daily routines. In spring and summer, residents might engage in activities like weaving mats, crafting simple household tools, or preparing preserves for the coming months. Herbs, fruits, and vegetables are dried or pickled, stored in clay jars to ensure sustenance during winter. Children, learning by observation and participation, gain practical knowledge alongside amusement, often turning mundane tasks into games or experiments. In winter, indoor crafts dominate. Embroidery, weaving, or simple woodworking projects occupy both adults and children, offering productive engagement while shielding from the cold. Such activities, while functional, also carry aesthetic and cultural significance, linking households to broader artistic and practical traditions across the empire. Evenings are punctuated by the sensory pleasures of scent, sound, and light. The aroma of stews and baked bread permeates the home. The soft glow of oil lamps and lanterns casts warm illumination, highlighting textures of woven rugs, polished wood, and decorative tiles. Conversations flow, sometimes punctuated by laughter, whispers, or shared observation of the night sky. Children may sneak outside briefly to watch fireflies or to marvel at the patterns of stars, returning indoors with small treasures or tales to recount. Sleep follows naturally, but not before households complete their nightly rituals. Tending to lamps, securing doors, offering prayers, or checking that animals in storage are safe. Each night mirrors the rhythms of the day, yet is distinct in its quieter tempo, a reflective pause that allows both body and mind to restore themselves for the next cycle of labor, interaction, and enjoyment. Even in ordinary households, life is layered and textured, combining labor, leisure, social interaction, and cultural continuity into a seamless daily experience. Meals, work, games, storytelling, music, and seasonal crafts intertwine, creating a rhythm that is at once practical, aesthetic, and deeply human. Each action, each observation, each conversation contributes to a shared understanding of place, tradition, and responsibility. In such a context, the mundane becomes extraordinary, and the ordinary patterns of life are imbued with meaning, purpose, and quiet beauty. From the morning bread to the evening lamplight, from the marketplace chatter to the quiet hum of a loom, residents of the Ottoman Empire navigate a world rich with sensory detail, cultural significance, and social complexity, their lives forming a living tapestry that stretches across streets, neighborhoods, and generations, and resonates in ways both visible and subtle to those who observe closely. As the year progresses, certain days stand apart from the ordinary rhythm of work and household chores, distinguished by celebrations, religious observances, and seasonal festivals that bring neighborhoods and families together in ways both elaborate and intimate. Preparations for these occasions often begin days in advance, with careful attention to food, clothing, decorations, and communal spaces. Women might spend hours cleaning courtyards, hanging fresh fabrics, or creating intricate patterns of colored powders or flowers to mark the event. Kitchens become centers of activity, filled with the aromas of dishes that are richer, sweeter, or more elaborate than those of daily meals. Nuts, honey, dried fruits, and spices are combined to produce pastries, sweets, and confections, often layered with precision and care. Flatbreads are baked not just for sustenance but for ritual or symbolic purposes, sometimes stamped with patterns and prepared in quantities sufficient to feed visiting relatives, neighbors, and friends. As the year progresses, certain days stand apart from the ordinary rhythm of work and household chores, distinguished by celebrations, religious observances, and seasonal festivals that bring neighborhoods and families together in ways both elaborate and intimate. Preparations for these occasions often begin days in advance, with careful attention to food, clothing, decorations, and communal spaces. Women might spend hours cleaning courtyards, hanging fresh fabrics, or creating intricate patterns of colored powders or flowers to mark the event. Kitchens become centers of activity, filled with the aromas of dishes that are richer, sweeter, or more elaborate than those of daily meals. Nuts, honey, dried fruits and spices are combined to produce pastries, sweets, and confections, often layered with precision and care. Flatbreads are baked not just for sustenance but for ritual or symbolic purposes, sometimes stamped with patterns and prepared in quantities sufficient to feed visiting relatives, neighbors, and friends. Children, aware that something special is approaching, take on roles both practical and playful. They may assist in gathering ingredients, carrying small bundles, or arranging mats and seating for guests. At the same time, their imaginations are engaged. Games transform to suit the celebratory mood, improvised performances and storytelling competitions emerge, and laughter echoes louder, carrying across streets and alleys. Music, already a part of daily life, becomes more prominent during festivals and special occasions. Skilled musicians may be invited to play stringed instruments like the saz or percussion, such as small hand drums, creating rhythms that encourage dance, communal singing, or quiet reflection. The melodies are often familiar, passed down through generations, yet each performance carries subtle variations, reflecting local style, the personality of the musician, and the mood of the gathering. Even in modest households, the blending of sound, movement, and ritual contributes to an atmosphere that feels extraordinary, drawing participants into a shared experience that transcends ordinary life. Food and drink take on ritual significance during these periods, reflecting abundance, generosity, and cultural identity. Dishes may include slow-cooked stews with meats, grains, and legumes, seasoned with an array of spices that highlight both flavor and aroma. Pastries and sweets often incorporate nuts, honey, and dried fruits, sometimes arranged in intricate designs to convey beauty as well as taste. Beverages such as sweetened sherbets, lightly fermented yogurt drinks, or spiced teas provide refreshment, while communal sharing reinforces bonds and communicates hospitality. These meals are not merely functional. They are moments of celebration, education, and cultural continuity, teaching children the values of generosity, gratitude, and attention to detail, while allowing adults to demonstrate skill, care, and refinement in both cooking and presentation. Evenings during festive periods carry a distinctive energy. Lanterns and oil lamps are lit earlier, illuminating courtyards, alleys, and streets, casting dancing shadows that enhance the sense of occasion. Social interactions become more animated. Neighbors greet one another with warmth and curiosity, travelers or visiting relatives are welcomed with food and conversation, and stories or anecdotes circulate widely, often touching on historical events, moral lessons, or humorous incidents. Games, contests, and performances supplement the sensory richness of music, creating a tapestry of activity that engages all ages. Children may reenact tales heard from elders, improvise dances, or perform small skits, their efforts celebrated with applause or gentle guidance. Adults may participate in more formal competitions, storytelling, or demonstrations of craft, each display serving as a reaffirmation of skill, community, and shared cultural heritage. In such moments, the ordinary patterns of daily life are transformed, and even the most routine actions, preparing food, lighting lamps, arranging mats, acquire ceremonial significance. The cyclical nature of time in the Ottoman neighborhood ensures that celebrations are interspersed with routine, each feeding into the other. Seasonal festivals, religious observances, and local events punctuate the work of the year, creating anticipation, marking transitions, and reinforcing communal bonds. Between these occasions, daily life resumes with a familiar rhythm. The morning call to prayer, work in workshops or markets, household chores, meals, and moments of leisure, punctuated by music, storytelling, and simple games. Yet the memory and preparation for celebrations infuse ordinary days with subtle excitement, shaping behavior, focus, and social interaction. Even small gestures, preparing a favorite dish for a neighbor, helping a child complete a chore, or participating in a brief musical performance are colored by the broader cultural context, linking individual action to shared identity and history. Nighttime during these periods is particularly enchanting. Streets and homes glimmer with lanterns and lamps, reflecting off walls, cobblestones, and water stored in fountains or small basins. The air is filled with the mingling scents of herbs, baked goods, roasted nuts, and simmering stews, creating a sensory tapestry that feels at once vibrant and intimate. Children, temporarily energized by excitement and novelty, explore under supervision, while adults share stories, reminisce, or quietly observe, taking satisfaction in the seamless integration of work, preparation, celebration, and reflection. Sleep arrives eventually, softened by the lingering joy of the day, the satisfaction of shared experience, and the quiet certainty that tomorrow will return to its familiar rhythms. Yet with the memory and influence of the celebration persisting in the household, the courtyard, and the neighborhood at large. These cycles, work, leisure, celebration, reflection, define life in the Ottoman Empire, offering a rich interplay between necessity and pleasure, structure and spontaneity, ordinary and extraordinary, creating a continuum that stretches across streets, seasons, and generations in ways both subtle and profound. As winter settles across the city, a palpable change sweeps through the streets, homes, and daily routines of ordinary residents, altering both the pace and character of life. The crisp chill in the air encourages earlier rises from bed, the layering of garments, and a careful consideration of every movement outside the relative warmth of the home. Thick woolen clothing, often hand-woven or passed down through family lines, is donned over lighter garments, scarves wrapped around necks, and hats or hoods pulled low against the cold wind. Courtyards that were vibrant in spring and summer fall quiet, with snow occasionally blanketing the stone paths, softening sounds, and creating a serene, almost otherworldly quality to familiar streets. Children still venture outside, though their games are adapted to winter's limitations. They fashion small sleds, throw compacted snowballs, or watch the patterns of frost forming on windows and railings, finding simple delight in the altered landscape. Within homes, methods of heating become crucial for survival and comfort. Small clay stoves or hearths burn wood, charcoal, or dried brush, radiating warmth that sustains families through the night and during colder daytime hours. Fires are carefully tended, with embers monitored to ensure longevity and safety, while pots and pans sit atop stoves, simmering gently with seasonal stews, soups, or porridges. The scent of slow-cooked meals, mingling with the faint smoke from hearths, creates a sensory ambience distinct from warmer months. Meals take on a heavier, more sustaining character. Legumes and grains provide long-lasting energy, root vegetables and preserved foods supplement fresh ingredients, and occasionally, salted or smoked meats are incorporated, their flavors intensified by careful seasoning. Hot drinks, sometimes spiced teas, light broths, or the ubiquitous ayran, are consumed more frequently, both for nourishment and to provide warmth against the winter air. Even simple rituals, like tearing bread or stirring a pot, are imbued with significance, offering both practicality and comfort. As daylight diminishes, households and neighborhoods adjust to the early onset of night. Lanterns, oil lamps, and occasionally candles illuminate interiors, casting warm, flickering glows across walls, rugs, and household items, creating a cozy atmosphere that contrasts sharply with the stark chill outside. Streets, less bustling than in summer, are navigated with care, lamps guiding footsteps and shadows providing both challenge and intrigue. Evening gatherings become increasingly central to social life during these months, offering relief from labor and isolation. Families share meals together, discuss the day's events, and participate in communal storytelling, each narrative imbued with lessons, humor, or memory. The long nights encourage a slow, contemplative rhythm, with adults sometimes visiting neighbors to exchange news, share resources, or offer assistance, reinforcing bonds that are both social and practical. Children are tucked into warm beds or mats, often accompanied by small lamps, listening to stories or lullabies that connect them to their cultural heritage. Winter also brings particular forms of entertainment and craft. With outdoor labor limited, households focus on indoor activities. Weaving, embroidery, carving, or simple woodworking projects occupy both adults and children. These crafts are not merely utilitarian. They represent skill, creativity, and preparation for future needs, such as clothing, furniture, or household utensils. Music remains a vital companion. A stringed instrument, small drum, or flute provides subtle accompaniment to quiet conversation or storytelling, the sound amplified within the enclosed space of a warm room. Games, both strategic and playful, occupy evenings. Board games or simple competitions between family members or neighbors test intellect, dexterity, and observation, while providing amusement that transcends age. These activities, simple though they may appear, sustain morale, foster connection, and embed cultural continuity, allowing residents to navigate the darker, colder months without feeling isolated or disheartened. Community life, though altered by winter's constraints, continues with subtle adaptations. Markets operate with modified schedules. Vendors bring preserved foods, dried fruits, and winter-specific goods, while neighbors share excess provisions or trade for needed items. Religious observances and seasonal rituals maintain their importance, providing structured pauses in the work and rest cycle. Festivals adapted to winter conditions offer warmth and social cohesion. Communal meals, modest public gatherings, and indoor music or storytelling sessions create spaces for shared experience, bridging physical and emotional distance imposed by the cold. Observing these rhythms reveals the resilience of residents, their ability to adapt routines, maintain social bonds, and find pleasure and purpose in the smaller details of daily life. From tending a fire to preparing a stew, from listening to a story to weaving a mat. Even in the darkest months, life retains texture, depth, and continuity, a testament to the human capacity for adaptation, creativity, and connection. As night deepens, the interplay of light, warmth, and sound creates a uniquely intimate experience. The flickering lamps cast intricate shadows on walls and ceilings. The murmur of conversation and laughter blends with the occasional crackle of the hearth, and the aroma of simmering foods fills the air. Children drift into sleep with the comfort of family presence and rhythmic storytelling, while adults reflect on the day, plan for the next, or enjoy quiet moments of meditation and prayer. Outside, the streets are still, the occasional figure passing by providing reminders of communal continuity, while the distant sounds of animals, wind, and occasional footsteps reinforce the ever-present rhythm of life beyond the walls of a single home. In such moments, the ordinary, everyday routines of the Ottoman household reveal their profound depth. Work, leisure, nourishment, reflection, and social connection intertwine, sustaining both body and spirit, anchoring individuals to their neighborhood, their family, and the broader tapestry of the empire in ways both subtle and enduring. As the depths of winter persist, the city retains a quiet rhythm that is punctuated by special occasions and subtle adjustments to daily life, particularly around seasonal celebrations that provide warmth, both literal and emotional, to ordinary residents. Certain festivals, religious or civic, occur even during the coldest months, prompting households to prepare in ways that go beyond simple survival. Kitchens become arenas of activity. Soups enriched with root vegetables, dried legumes, and preserved meats are simmered over clay stoves, while sweet pastries made with nuts, honey, and dried fruits are carefully crafted and often shared with neighbors or visiting family. The act of preparing these foods is ritualistic in itself. Hands are busy but minds are attuned to the balance of ingredients, timing, and presentation, ensuring that each dish not only nourishes but also conveys respect, generosity, and communal spirit. Markets during winter take on a unique character. Vendors who brave the cold early in the season adapt by offering goods suited to the season. Bundles of dried herbs, preserved vegetables, salted or smoked meats, and firewood for households reliant on small stoves. These markets, though less crowded than in warmer months, maintain their social function. Neighbors exchange news, gossip, and advice, while children accompany parents to witness the ebb and flow of commerce and to learn the subtle arts of negotiation and observation. Even in the harsher weather, these trips to market are opportunities for sensory stimulation. The scent of spices mingles with the crisp winter air. The sight of colorful dried fruits and preserved vegetables provides visual delight, and the sound of voices, cartwheels, and haggling vendors forms a lively auditory backdrop that reinforces a sense of connection and continuity within the community. Outdoor recreation, though more limited, still plays a role. Children find inventive ways to enjoy the snow, compacting it into small spheres for playful battles, tracing patterns in the frost, or sliding along gentle slopes with rudimentary sleds. Adults occasionally join in these activities, both for amusement and as a means of connecting with younger generations, creating shared memories that linger even after the snow melts. Walks through quieter streets offer opportunities for observation, reflection, and social interaction. Even brief encounters at doorways or along alleys allow neighbors to exchange warmth, a quick story, or a bit of news, reinforcing social cohesion despite the isolating effects of the cold. These small rituals, smiles, greetings, brief collaborations, contribute to the enduring network of interdependence that defines urban life, sustaining both morale and communal identity. Inside homes, winter evenings become a stage for the most intricate combination of work, leisure, and cultural continuity. Families gather around fires or stoves, engaging in indoor crafts such as weaving, embroidery, or small woodworking projects. These activities are both practical and creative. Woven mats and textiles provide insulation and comfort, while decorative patterns and intricate designs reflect aesthetic sensibilities and cultural heritage. Music and storytelling remain central to indoor life. A stringed instrument, flute, or small drum accompanies recitations of traditional tales, historical narratives, and moral lessons. Children participate as listeners, performers, or apprentices, learning both practical skills and the subtle rhythms of social interaction and cultural transmission. Adults may compete in games of strategy or skill, exchanging friendly wagers or playful banter, while elders supervise, comment, and occasionally provide guidance or historical context, deepening the educational dimension of these seemingly leisurely activities. The anticipation of spring subtly shapes behavior even in the depths of winter. Families prepare by tending to stored provisions, repairing tools, and planning for the tasks of the coming season. Seeds may be sorted and stored for early planting, wooden implements sharpened or mended, and clothing repaired or layered for future use. These preparations, though often unnoticed, require foresight, coordination, and knowledge of both local climate and agricultural cycles. Children, too, are integrated into this forward-looking rhythm, learning the rhythms of the year, the responsibilities of household and garden, and the interplay between labor, leisure, and celebration. Observing their elders, they acquire skills that will be essential for survival and social participation in the coming months, while also enjoying small freedoms and imaginative play that allow them to navigate both the constraints and delights of winter. Evenings in winter are imbued with an almost magical quality. Lanterns and lamps cast dancing light upon walls, furniture, and household objects, creating intricate shadows that seem to animate the room. The faint crackle of the stove or hearth punctuates conversation, storytelling, and the occasional music performance. The aroma of simmering food, spiced beverages, or sweet pastries enriches the sensory environment, contributing to a sense of comfort and stability. Within these spaces, ordinary activities, preparing food, repairing clothing, weaving, playing games, or listening to stories, gain added significance, offering both physical sustenance and psychological nourishment. Children, lulled by warmth and rhythm, drift into sleep with the comfort of familial presence, while adults reflect on the day, plan for the next, or simply savor the slow unfolding of time, noticing the delicate interplay of light, sound, warmth, and human connection that defines these winter months. The season, harsh though it may be, reveals the resilience, adaptability, and resourcefulness of ordinary residents who navigate its challenges with skill, creativity, and an enduring sense of community, finding both comfort and pleasure in the subtleties of daily life. As winter slowly loosens its grip and the first signs of spring appear, the city and its inhabitants awaken to subtle transformations in both environment and routine. The chill in the air gradually softens, the snow recedes, and hints of green begin to emerge in courtyards, gardens, and along the edges of streets. This seasonal shift brings renewed energy and anticipation, signaling the time to prepare for the agricultural and social activities that will dominate the months ahead. For ordinary residents, the arrival of spring is both practical and symbolic. It marks the opportunity to plant seeds, mend tools, repair roofs, and re-establish routines that were constrained by the harshness of winter. The rhythm of daily life expands outward, incorporating more outdoor activity and engaging all senses in the gradual transformation of the environment. Garden and field preparations begin in earnest. Families sort and plant seeds, paying attention to soil, sunlight, and water availability, often consulting elders or written guides when available. Small courtyards or urban plots are turned over, weeds cleared, and compost or animal manure added to enrich the earth. The knowledge of the correct timing for sowing each crop, learned through experience and observation of the natural world, is essential. Too early, and plants risk frost damage. Too late, and growth may be stunted. Tools, stored or repaired during winter, are brought into daily use. Wooden hoes, small plows, and simple rakes are wielded with care, transforming earth and effort into sustenance. Even those whose primary work is urban or artisanal participate in these preparations, supplementing household nutrition and reinforcing the connection between the city, its neighborhoods, and the cycles of agriculture that sustain them. Diet and meals begin to reflect the freshness and abundance of spring. Root vegetables stored over winter are gradually replaced with fresh shoots, leafy greens, and early fruits. The aroma of simmering dishes changes accordingly, incorporating tender herbs, young onions, garlic, and wild greens gathered from nearby areas. Light, fresh breads accompany these meals, while yogurt or dairy products provide richness and texture. Sweetness returns in the form of early fruits like cherries or strawberries, offering both pleasure and nutrients that were scarce during winter months. Daily eating becomes a reflection of seasonal rhythms, teaching children and adults alike to recognize and appreciate the natural ebb and flow of food availability. The preparation of these meals is social as well as practical. Neighbors exchange recipes, surplus produce, and advice on cultivation, ensuring that each household benefits from collective knowledge and the shared resources of the community. Spring also brings a resurgence of outdoor recreation and social activity. Streets and courtyards, now cleared of snow and ice, become spaces for games, storytelling, and performance. Children eagerly return to active play, racing, jumping, and inventing new games that take advantage of longer daylight hours and the gentle warmth of the sun. Adults may participate more frequently in outdoor crafts, musical gatherings, or even simple exercise, taking advantage of the milder weather to strengthen both body and social bonds. Markets expand in both size and variety. Fresh vegetables, herbs, fruits, and newly available fish or meats enrich daily diets and provide opportunities for observation, negotiation, and social connection. The sounds of commerce, calls of vendors, laughter of children, and clatter of carts interweave with natural sounds. Birdsong, rustling leaves, and the distant murmur of fountains, creating a dynamic, sensory environment that invigorates residents and sustains communal life. Cultural practices and entertainment adapt to the new season. Music becomes more prominent outdoors, with small groups performing in courtyards or streets, drawing crowds for casual listening, dancing, or participatory games. Storytelling continues, often incorporating spring themes, local history, or moral lessons tied to renewal and growth. Families may hold small communal meals or gatherings in courtyards, celebrating not only seasonal change but social bonds that have been reinforced through winter months. Children's participation is encouraged, both in play and in observation, fostering skills, social awareness, and creativity. Crafts, previously confined to indoor spaces, now expand outdoors. Weaving, simple carpentry, or garden-based projects occupy time and teach practical and artistic skills. Even seemingly minor actions, tending to a plant, preparing a meal, or observing a neighbor's technique, become part of a larger cycle of learning, growth, and communal reinforcement. Daily life in spring reveals the intricate balance between labor, leisure, and social cohesion that defines ordinary existence. Each action, from planting seeds to preparing meals, from storytelling to music, carries multiple layers of purpose. Practical sustenance, skill acquisition, social bonding, cultural continuity, and emotional satisfaction. The interplay of natural rhythms and human activity ensures that residents are attentive, adaptive, and engaged, recognizing both immediate needs and long-term outcomes. The expanding daylight and milder temperatures provide opportunities for observation, exploration, and improvisation, allowing both children and adults to develop creativity, resilience, and a sense of agency within the structured environment of the city. Even as the seasons shift, the continuity of routine, ritual, and interaction sustains the underlying framework of community life, linking individual experience to the broader patterns of the neighborhood and the empire. As evenings lengthen and temperatures moderate, residents enjoy a gradual transition from indoor-focused activities to more balanced engagement with outdoor spaces. Courtyards and gardens become sites for shared meals, music, and games. Conversations flow with greater ease and volume, enriched by the freshness of air and scent of blooming plants. Stories, songs, and casual performances draw neighbors together, reinforcing bonds that winter's isolation tested but did not break. Observing these activities, one notices that the rhythms of life are both cyclical and adaptive. Work, leisure, preparation, celebration, and reflection intersect in fluid patterns, ensuring that the ordinary experience of a resident is layered, engaging, and deeply connected to both the natural and social environment. In this way, the arrival of spring brings not only a physical renewal of the city and its households, but also a revitalization of human interaction, cultural expression, and daily rhythms that sustain the fabric of community life. With spring in full swing, the city hums with renewed vitality as both nature and human activity flourish in tandem. The arrival of festivals and holidays specific to this season injects an added energy into daily life, offering residents opportunities to celebrate, socialize, and showcase skill and creativity. Courtyards, streets, and marketplaces are prepared meticulously, adorned with fresh flowers, colorful fabrics, and simple decorations that signal festivity to all who pass by. Kitchens bustle with activity as families and neighbors collaborate on special dishes, blending ingredients that are newly available with preserved foods from winter. Sweet pastries filled with nuts and early fruits, light flatbreads, and simmering stews infused with tender herbs fill homes with aroma, drawing both children and adults into the ritual of preparation. Even small touches, such as carefully folding dough or arranging edible decorations, carry cultural significance and reflect pride, hospitality, and attention to detail. Springtime markets expand beyond basic commerce, becoming vibrant centers for social interaction and seasonal exchange. Vendors set up stalls offering early fruits, fresh vegetables, herbs, flowers, and artisanal goods, while the sound of haggling, laughter, and music fills the air. Street performers, musicians, acrobats, and storytellers provide entertainment that captivates both children and adults, often drawing impromptu crowds that spill into adjacent alleys and courtyards. Children engage in new forms of outdoor play, taking advantage of longer daylight hours and warmer temperatures. They invent games using sticks, stones, and other simple objects, participate in mock competitions inspired by local traditions, and observe the natural world around them, noting budding trees, blossoming flowers, and the return of migratory birds. Adults, too, venture outdoors more frequently, conducting business, socializing, or simply enjoying the sunlight and fresh air, creating a vibrant rhythm of communal activity that contrasts with the quieter winter months. Seasonal foods now reflect abundance, freshness, and variety. Early greens, spinach, lettuce, and wild herbs appear alongside tender vegetables such as peas, radishes, and spring onions. Soups, stews, and porridges are prepared with these ingredients, often lightly seasoned to highlight their natural flavors. Fresh fruit, including cherries, apricots, and strawberries, is incorporated into desserts, sweet pastries, and simple snacks, providing both nutrition and sensory pleasure. Meals are shared communally whenever possible, reinforcing neighborhood ties, teaching children the etiquette and techniques of serving and eating, and fostering a sense of mutual support. Even routine acts, kneading dough, chopping herbs, or stirring a pot, are interwoven with conversation, storytelling, and observation, transforming mundane tasks into opportunities for cultural transmission, skill development, and social bonding. Entertainment and leisure in spring are increasingly outdoors-oriented, taking advantage of improved weather and longer days. Music, an ever-present component of life, is performed in courtyards, along streets or near fountains, where small groups play stringed instruments, flutes, or percussion, accompanying songs, dances, or simple games. Children and adults alike participate in playful contests, racing, jumping, or improvising games that test agility, creativity, and cooperation. Public celebrations and festivals include structured competitions, performances, and communal meals, which reinforce social hierarchy while encouraging collaboration, observation, and friendly rivalry. Evenings, though still cooler than summer, are long enough for extended interaction, with stories, songs, and casual gatherings lasting late into the twilight, accompanied by the gentle glow of lanterns, the hum of conversation, and the distant clatter of carts returning from the market. Preparation for summer begins subtly during this period. Residents repair and store tools, prepare seeds for additional planting, and maintain water systems or storage facilities to accommodate warmer months. Roofs, fences, and courtyards are inspected and maintained, ensuring that homes are ready to face both heat and increased activity. Clothing is adjusted. Heavier winter garments are set aside or stored, replaced by lighter, breathable fabrics suitable for sun and humidity. Children and apprentices observe, learn, and participate in these preparations, gradually understanding the complex interdependence between labor, seasonality, and survival. Even casual observation of neighbors provides lessons in efficiency, technique, and social expectation, reinforcing a shared knowledge base that transcends individual households. Evenings during this season are rich with layered experiences. The lingering warmth of the day allows for outdoor dining, informal music sessions, and storytelling beneath open skies, while lanterns cast soft glows in courtyards and streets, blending with the fading sunlight. The scent of herbs, early fruits, and simmering dishes fills homes, creating an atmosphere that is simultaneously comforting and stimulating. Conversation flows freely, punctuated by laughter, commentary, and reflections on the changing environment. Observing the sky, noting the lengthening days, the appearance of certain stars, or the flight of birds, families connect both to their immediate surroundings and to the broader cycles of nature and empire. In this way, the ordinary rhythms of work, leisure, and social interaction acquire additional layers of meaning, as residents align their actions with both seasonal opportunities and the collective cultural imagination. Spring, in its full vitality, demonstrates the interplay of adaptation, anticipation, and pleasure in the daily life of ordinary Ottoman residents. Work, recreation, food preparation, music, storytelling, and socialization intersect seamlessly, each informing and enhancing the other. Even the smallest gestures, arranging a dish, sweeping a courtyard, teaching a child a game, reflect cultural knowledge, social cohesion, and personal skill. The city, alive with light, sound, and scent, serves as both backdrop and participant in this continuous interplay, supporting the rhythms of human life while shaping behavior, observation, and engagement. As residents navigate spring's abundance, challenges, and opportunities, they cultivate resilience, joy, and a sense of belonging, weaving ordinary days into a tapestry of rich experience that prepares them, mentally and practically, for the coming warmth and activity of summer. As summer fully establishes itself, the city transforms under the intense warmth and long hours of sunlight, reshaping both daily routines and social activities for its residents. Streets, courtyards, and open markets become central spaces where life unfolds with heightened energy and rhythm. The heat encourages an early rise. Households wake before the sun peaks, taking advantage of cooler morning hours to complete essential work. Doors and windows are open to capture any passing breeze, while thin, breathable fabrics replace heavier garments, allowing residents to remain comfortable during the day. Children, sensing both freedom and opportunity, adapt their play to the bright conditions. Running along alleys, playing ball games in open squares, or engaging in imaginative activities with friends and siblings. Adults also embrace the outdoors, completing household chores, tending gardens, and engaging in trade, while carefully pacing themselves to avoid the midday sun. Food and meals shift to accommodate the season's produce and the need for refreshment. Early mornings often begin with light bread, cheese, or yogurt, accompanied by fresh fruits such as melons, cherries, or apricots. Throughout the day, meals focus on cool or lightly cooked dishes. Fresh salads with herbs, tender greens, pulses, and occasionally grilled or stewed meats, all seasoned with spices to enhance flavor without overwhelming the senses in the heat. Water, tea, and lightly fermented beverages such as Aran become essential, ensuring hydration and providing relief from both work and play. Markets overflow with abundance, offering not only food but also aromatic herbs, flowers, and vibrant fabrics, creating a sensory tapestry that entices residents, stimulates trade, and encourages social interaction. Preparing, sharing, and consuming meals in this season carries both practical and symbolic meaning. Nourishment, social cohesion, and celebration of nature's bounty converge in a daily ritual that enriches body, mind, and community ties. Summer also intensifies outdoor leisure and entertainment, as long days and warm evenings provide opportunities for expanded activity. Children and adults alike participate in outdoor games, races, and playful competitions, often improvising equipment or adapting familiar pastimes to the environment. Courtyards and streets are alive with music. Stringed instruments, small percussion, and wind instruments provide melodies for dancing, communal singing, or simple enjoyment. Storytelling continues, often expanding to longer narratives, historical tales, or imaginative adventures that captivate listeners in the cooler hours of morning or evening. Water becomes an integral part of recreation. Residents bathe in fountains, small rivers, or cisterns, not only for hygiene but also for relief from heat and as a playful social activity. Children splash, compete in friendly races, or experiment with makeshift boats or floating objects, learning through play the dynamics of water, cooperation, and timing. Preparation for special summer holidays and travels introduces additional layers of activity and anticipation. Households ensure that supplies for extended gatherings, food, drink, linens, and utensils are organized and ready for both planned and impromptu celebrations. Clothing for festive occasions is laundered, mended, and sometimes newly created, reflecting personal style, social expectations, and seasonal practicality. Journeys to nearby towns, religious sites, or family estates are undertaken carefully. Carts are checked, water and food packed, and itineraries coordinated to avoid the hottest parts of the day. Even seemingly mundane activities, such as maintaining tools or inspecting paths, are infused with strategic thinking and foresight, blending practicality with anticipation of enjoyment and communal participation. These preparations reinforce skills, responsibilities, and awareness of both environment and social expectation. Evenings during summer are a particular highlight of urban life. As the sun dips below rooftops, streets, courtyards, and gardens fill with residents enjoying extended leisure. Music flows freely. Instrumentalists play alongside singers or dancers, while children, adults, and elders participate in various capacities, sharing joy and communal energy. Meals may be taken outdoors, utilizing the cooling air and ambient sounds to enrich both flavor and conversation. Lanterns, torches, or oil lamps illuminate corners of courtyards, blending with the lingering light of sunset to create a magical, almost theatrical ambience. Discussions range from daily events and news from surrounding neighborhoods to moral lessons, local history, and shared anecdotes, each conversation reinforcing bonds, transmitting knowledge, and offering opportunities for entertainment, humor, and reflection. In addition to daily routines and celebrations, summer also prompts practical attention to the natural environment and urban infrastructure. Water reservoirs, fountains, and wells are monitored to ensure adequate supply for both household and public use. Gardens require regular tending, watering, weeding, and monitoring plant health to ensure continuous productivity. Streets and courtyards are maintained, swept, and sometimes decorated for special occasions or visits from friends and relatives. Children, apprentices, and younger members of households learn these tasks gradually, combining observation, imitation, and hands-on experience. In doing so, they acquire practical skills, awareness of communal responsibility, and a deeper understanding of how labor, leisure, and celebration interweave to sustain life in the city. As summer deepens, the interplay of heat, productivity, leisure, and celebration shapes the city into a vibrant, dynamic environment. The senses are fully engaged. The aroma of fresh food, the warmth of sunlight, the sight of colorful fabrics, fruits, and flowers, the sound of music, laughter, and conversation, and the tactile experience of water, soil, and tools all combine to create a living, breathing tapestry of experience. Daily life becomes a delicate balance between work and pleasure, preparation and enjoyment, social interaction and personal reflection. Residents navigate this balance with skill and adaptability, maintaining health, social cohesion, and cultural continuity while enjoying the abundance and possibilities of summer. In these months, the ordinary life of an Ottoman resident reaches a vivid, multi-layered expression, blending necessity, celebration, and creativity in ways both practical and deeply human. As late summer approaches, the city's rhythm shifts once again, guided by the changing light, temperature, and abundance of seasonal produce. Early mornings are cooler, yet the heat of midday still demands careful pacing of activities. The longer days provide ample opportunity for labor, leisure, and preparation, as residents focus on the critical tasks of harvesting crops, storing food, and organizing for both festivals and the approaching cooler months. Gardens and small fields become arenas of intense activity. Ripe fruits are picked, vegetables gathered, and herbs carefully dried or preserved. Children often participate, learning the methods of careful harvesting, proper handling to avoid spoilage, and the artistry involved in arranging and storing produce for maximum utility and beauty. Adults, coordinating among family members and neighbors, ensure that no produce is wasted, often exchanging surplus items in the marketplace or informally with neighbors to reinforce social networks. Harvest festivals and communal celebrations mark this period, blending practicality with joy. Courtyards and streets are decorated with fresh flowers, fruits, and fabrics, signaling both gratitude for the bounty and anticipation of shared leisure. Kitchens are busier than ever. Preserves are prepared, meats salted or smoked, and breads baked in larger quantities, ensuring that stored foods will last through the coming months. Special dishes are crafted for gatherings, often incorporating seasonal fruits, grains, and dairy products in ways that balance taste, nutrition, and visual appeal. Meals are eaten communally whenever possible, reinforcing family and neighborhood bonds while teaching children the etiquette, preparation methods, and cultural significance associated with these foods. The act of sharing not only nourishes the body but also strengthens social cohesion, embedding knowledge and memory into both the young and old alike. Markets flourish with the vibrancy of harvest season. Vendors offer an array of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and freshly caught fish, while merchants of textiles, household goods, and tools capitalize on increased foot traffic. The cacophony of haggling, laughter, and negotiation provides a lively soundtrack to daily life, merging seamlessly with the sounds of birds, animals, and distant laborers in fields or along streets. Children observe and participate in these interactions, developing skills in negotiation, observation, and social engagement. Adults navigate the bustling market with a combination of strategy, familiarity, and relationship building, often exchanging news, advice, and resources in ways that reinforce community resilience. This synergy between commerce, culture, and social life ensures that residents remain interconnected, informed, and prepared for both current needs and future challenges. Outdoor recreation adapts to the late summer heat and seasonal abundance. Children continue playful competitions, incorporating new materials from harvests such as sticks, gourds, or small baskets into imaginative games. Adults join in storytelling, musical performances, and casual sports, taking advantage of lingering daylight for both social and educational purposes. Water-based activities remain popular. Baths, river wading, or playful splashing provide relief from heat and opportunities for socialization. Evening gatherings grow in importance, as the cooler temperatures allow for extended periods of leisure outside the confines of homes. Music, dance, and storytelling continue to enrich daily life, often with specific reference to seasonal experiences, historical events, or moral lessons drawn from the natural and social world. Travel and movement are more frequent during this period. Families may visit relatives, attend religious sites, or engage in short excursions to markets, fairs, or neighboring towns. Planning such journeys requires coordination. Carts and animals are prepared, water and food packed, routes selected for safety and convenience, and timing adjusted to avoid midday heat. Even routine trips provide educational opportunities. Children observe landscapes, note seasonal changes, and participate in practical tasks such as guiding animals, carrying provisions, or navigating paths. These excursions strengthen familial and communal bonds, reinforce practical skills, and provide a sense of adventure and connection beyond the immediate neighborhood. Diet reflects both harvest abundance and preparation for upcoming autumn. Fresh fruits, vegetables, and herbs dominate meals, often combined with grains, legumes, and preserved foods from earlier months. Dishes are designed to provide nourishment in the heat, utilizing light cooking, cooling spices, and fresh ingredients. Baking becomes more elaborate, producing breads, pastries, and sweets that are consumed immediately or stored for future use. Dairy products, particularly yogurt and cheese, are incorporated into meals for both taste and nutrition. The process of preparing, preserving, and consuming these foods teaches children not only culinary skills, but also the importance of planning, resource management, and appreciation for seasonal cycles. Evenings in late summer are rich with sensory and social experiences. The interplay of light, shadow, and warmth creates dynamic spaces in courtyards and streets. Music, conversation, and laughter fill these areas, blending with the sense of food, herbs, and flowers. Families gather to discuss the day's work, share stories, and plan for upcoming events, embedding knowledge and cultural practices in routine interaction. Observing the stars, noting seasonal changes in flora and fauna, and discussing local news or historical anecdotes, residents reinforce both practical understanding and social cohesion. Children absorb lessons through observation and participation, gradually internalizing rhythms of work, leisure, and celebration that will guide them throughout life. As late summer draws to a close, the city prepares for the transition to autumn. Stored foods, repaired tools, and mended clothing ensure readiness for cooler months. Social and cultural routines adapt accordingly, blending the lingering abundance of summer with the anticipation of harvest festivals, indoor activities, and changing environmental conditions. The ordinary life of a resident, shaped by labor, leisure, observation, and social interaction, continues to unfold with remarkable depth and continuity, reflecting the intricate interplay of human agency, seasonal rhythms, and communal life within the city. In this way, the ordinary yet carefully orchestrated existence of an Ottoman inhabitant demonstrates both resilience and adaptability, sustaining daily needs while preserving cultural identity and communal cohesion. As early autumn settles over the city, the atmosphere shifts subtly yet unmistakably. Mornings are crisp, carrying the faint scent of fallen leaves and damp earth, while afternoons retain a gentle warmth that encourages outdoor activity before the colder months arrive. Residents adjust their routines to accommodate these changes. Chores that were once confined to cooler mornings now extend into the late afternoon, while meals and social gatherings increasingly take place indoors as the evenings grow chillier. The city itself seems to breathe differently, streets filled with the muted colors of turning leaves, the golden light of early sunsets, and the richer aromas of autumnal foods and fires. This season signals both a culmination of summer abundance and a preparation for winter scarcity, compelling residents to blend celebration with careful planning. Harvesting continues in earnest, focusing on late fruits, nuts, and grains that have reached maturity. Families work together to collect olives, figs, apples, and plums, taking care to handle each item with attention to prevent bruising or spoilage. Nuts are gathered, dried, and stored, providing a source of protein and fat for the coming months. Children assist in these tasks, learning not only practical techniques but also the rhythms of the natural world and the patience required for successful collection and storage. Adults coordinate activities, negotiating labor distribution, storage strategies, and market visits. The knowledge of when and how to harvest, combined with social coordination, ensures that families remain well-provisioned and connected to both their immediate community and broader economic networks. Autumnal foods reflect both the tail end of summer freshness and the preparation for winter resilience. Early vegetables such as pumpkins, squashes, and cabbages appear alongside late fruits, forming the basis of soups, stews, and baked dishes designed to provide sustenance and warmth. Herbs and spices are added with skill, balancing flavor, preservation qualities, and nutrition. Bread continues to play a central role, often baked in larger quantities for storage or distribution to neighbors, while dairy products such as cheeses and yogurt are incorporated into both simple and elaborate meals. The process of food preparation becomes a communal activity. Neighbors exchange surplus produce, recipes, and advice, children observe and participate, and adults oversee the coordination of tasks that blend practicality, culinary skill, and social engagement. Entertainment and leisure adapt to the cooler temperatures and shifting daylight. Morning and early afternoon remain ideal for outdoor activity, with children and adults alike participating in games, physical contests, and playful competitions that make use of fallen leaves, sticks, or collected fruits. Courtyards, gardens, and streets host music, storytelling, and informal performances, with residents adjusting schedules to ensure maximum comfort and enjoyment. Water-based activities diminish slightly, replaced by games, walks, and social interactions that take advantage of remaining daylight. Evenings are increasingly spent indoors, where fires and stoves provide warmth, and the soft glow of lanterns illuminates music, games, and stories. The contrast between outdoor vitality and indoor intimacy enriches daily life, offering both physical and psychological variation that maintains engagement and satisfaction. Social interaction in early autumn is marked by preparation and collaboration. Households coordinate to ensure storage of food, repair of clothing and tools, and organization of household spaces. Children are integrated into these processes, learning practical skills and observing the strategies adults employ to balance labor, resource management, and leisure. Market activity reflects the seasonal transition. Vendors offer late fruits, early root vegetables, dried herbs, and artisanal goods, while residents navigate these spaces with attentiveness, bargaining, and an appreciation for the rhythm of commerce. Conversations in markets, courtyards, and streets revolve around both immediate concerns, quality of produce, repair of tools, availability of firewood, and broader observations, including community events, seasonal changes, and cultural practices. These interactions reinforce social cohesion, knowledge transmission, and the sense of being part of a larger, interconnected urban network. Clothing and personal care adjust to the cooling weather. Lighter summer garments are replaced or layered with warmer fabrics, and repairs performed during winter are revisited to ensure durability. Shoes, belts, and other accessories are inspected, mended, or replaced, reflecting both practical necessity and social expectation. Children learn these habits through observation and participation, gradually internalizing the importance of preparedness, resourcefulness, and attention to personal and household maintenance. The act of dressing for both function and social propriety serves as a daily lesson in balance, mindfulness, and anticipation, shaping behavior and awareness in ways that extend beyond immediate comfort. Evenings in early autumn are particularly rich with layered experiences. Fires crackle in hearths, filling rooms with warmth, light, and subtle scent of smoke and cooking food. Music, storytelling, and casual conversation fill the space, blending entertainment with education, socialization, and emotional expression. Children drift to sleep amidst these sensory and social patterns, absorbing rhythm, language, and cultural values in subtle but enduring ways. Adults continue planning for upcoming festivals, travel, and seasonal transitions, ensuring that daily life remains coordinated, adaptive, and sustainable. Observation of celestial patterns, changing foliage, and animal behavior complements practical knowledge, embedding residents in both local and natural cycles that govern survival, productivity, and social cohesion. In these early autumn months, ordinary life balances abundance with foresight. Work, leisure, preparation, and social interaction intersect seamlessly, creating a multi-layered tapestry that sustains both individual households and the broader community. The city, alive with color, sound, and activity, reflects this balance, serving as both environment and participant in the unfolding rhythms of daily life. Residents navigate these changes with skill, adaptability, and attentiveness, cultivating resilience and joy while maintaining cultural continuity. Even in seemingly mundane routines, harvesting, cooking, mending, or conversing, there is depth, strategy, and meaning, illustrating the rich, intertwined fabric of human existence within the urban Ottoman context. In early autumn, as the days shorten and temperatures moderate, life moves with measured energy, preparing all who inhabit the city for the transitions, celebrations, and challenges that lie ahead in the cooler months. As mid-autumn approaches, the city is bathed in a softer, golden light that illuminates streets, courtyards, and gardens with a warm hue, signaling both the end of the harvest season and the approach of colder months. Mornings are brisk, with dew glistening on fallen leaves and early frost occasionally dusting rooftops and open spaces. Residents awaken with renewed purpose, balancing daily work with preparations for winter, understanding that both sustenance and comfort in the coming months depend on careful attention and foresight. Courtyards are swept, gardens are cleared of dying plants, and last remnants of summer crops are gathered, processed, or stored. Children participate eagerly, learning not only the mechanics of harvesting but also the broader rhythms of the natural world, the importance of timing, and the value of diligence, patience, and cooperation. Late fruits, grains, and vegetables dominate attention in kitchens and gardens alike. Apples are peeled, sliced, and dried. Pumpkins are roasted, mashed, or stored whole. Cabbages are brined for preservation. Herbs are gathered, tied, and hung to dry in airy spaces, while nuts are cracked, sorted, and stored carefully to maintain freshness. Households work diligently to ensure that their stores will last, carefully rotating supplies and planning meals that will balance nutrition, taste, and variety during the leaner months ahead. Children assist in these tasks, learning the tactile skills of chopping, sorting, peeling, and arranging, while also observing the rhythms and social coordination that underlie successful preparation. Adults coordinate labor, sharing knowledge, delegating tasks, and reinforcing communal cooperation by exchanging surplus foods, tools, and advice with neighbors, ensuring that collective knowledge and resources are optimized for survival and comfort. Markets reflect the transition of the season, offering the last of fresh fruits, newly harvested vegetables, preserved foods from early summer, and artisanal products such as textiles, pottery, and tools. Vendors prepare for reduced winter traffic, carefully storing unsold goods and replenishing stock that will maintain appeal through colder months. Shoppers navigate bustling spaces with attention, negotiating prices, selecting high-quality produce, and exchanging news and observations. These interactions serve multiple purposes: practical acquisition, social bonding, and cultural continuity. The market functions as a microcosm of urban life, blending commerce, community, and sensory engagement, allowing residents to participate in a rhythm that sustains both material needs and social cohesion. Entertainment shifts subtly to reflect shorter daylight hours and cooler temperatures. Children's outdoor play continues but adapts to available light and weather. Games become shorter, closer to home, and often incorporate collected leaves, nuts, or small fruits into imaginative activities. Adults and older children increasingly engage in indoor leisure during late afternoons and evenings, including music, storytelling, weaving, and crafts. Courtyards may still host small gatherings when the sun warms the air, but evenings are dominated by indoor pursuits, often centered around fires, lanterns, or stoves that provide warmth and light. Music is performed softly, sometimes accompanying communal singing or rhythmic games, while storytelling expands to longer narratives, historical tales, or imaginative adventures that can be enjoyed in smaller groups or by candlelight. Even in these more confined spaces, social interaction remains dynamic, reinforcing bonds, transmitting cultural knowledge, and providing comfort. Daily life is also shaped by practical preparation for winter beyond food. Tools are inspected, repaired, and stored. Roofs and walls are reinforced against wind, rain, and early frost. Clothing is mended, layered, or replaced to ensure adequate warmth. Water systems, fountains, and storage cisterns are monitored and maintained to prevent freezing or contamination. Children and apprentices observe and assist, gradually internalizing skills, techniques, and planning strategies that will serve both immediate and long-term needs. The act of preparing the household, combined with the observation of neighbors and community members, teaches foresight, responsibility, and adaptability, emphasizing the importance of coordinated effort in ensuring the survival and comfort of all. Evenings in mid-autumn are richly layered with sensory, social, and reflective experiences. Fires crackle in hearths, filling rooms with warmth, light, and subtle sense of smoke and cooking foods. Conversation flows naturally, ranging from daily events to moral lessons, anecdotes, and practical knowledge about the environment and community. Children drift to sleep absorbing these rhythms, learning through observation, repetition, and participation. Adults engage in discussions about upcoming festivals, seasonal trade, and winter preparedness, while also reflecting on accomplishments, challenges, and shared experiences. The balance between work, leisure, and preparation creates a dynamic yet stable rhythm, sustaining both physical needs and social cohesion. Observing natural cues, the angle of sunlight, behavior of animals, or changes in vegetation, residents integrate empirical observation into practical decision-making, enhancing both survival and cultural continuity. As the season deepens, daily life embodies a delicate interplay of labor, celebration, observation, and anticipation. Each action, whether harvesting, preserving, cooking, repairing, or storytelling, carries multiple layers of meaning: practical utility, cultural transmission, social bonding, and personal satisfaction. The city itself participates in these rhythms, shaping and being shaped by human activity. Streets, courtyards, markets, and homes are spaces where interaction, observation, and creativity converge, creating a rich tapestry of experience. Residents navigate these complexities with skill, resilience, and attentiveness, cultivating both immediate well-being and long-term stability. In mid-autumn, the ordinary life of an Ottoman inhabitant demonstrates the intricate interdependence of work, leisure, preparation, and social engagement, highlighting a daily existence that is both deeply practical and profoundly human. As late autumn settles over the city, the rhythm of daily life adjusts to the growing chill, shorter days, and lengthening nights, casting a subtle hush over streets, courtyards, and marketplaces. Mornings are brisk, often accompanied by frost on rooftops and fallen leaves blanketing narrow alleyways, while afternoons carry a lingering warmth that encourages last-minute outdoor work or errands before darkness falls. Residents wake earlier to make the most of daylight, completing essential chores, gathering remaining seasonal produce, and attending to preparations that will sustain them through the harsh winter months. Children move cautiously through the streets, their games adapted to cooler temperatures and limited daylight, often incorporating small bundles of leaves, nuts, or fruits into imaginative play that reflects both creativity and adaptation to seasonal change. Adults carefully pace themselves, balancing work, preparation, and social interaction to maximize efficiency and maintain comfort in a rapidly changing environment. Harvesting and storage remain central activities during late autumn. Late fruits, root vegetables, and grains are gathered with care, preserving quality and ensuring sustainability. Pumpkins and squashes are stored in cool, dry spaces. Apples, pears, and quinces are carefully stacked and monitored, and nuts are shelled and sorted for long-term use. Herbs are dried or pickled, providing seasoning and medicinal benefits for the colder months. Kitchens are active with the preparation of preserves, pickles, and dried goods, while breads, porridges, and hearty soups dominate daily meals, providing sustenance, warmth, and comfort. Children are taught the skills of food preservation, sorting, and careful measurement, observing adults' precision and learning the patience and discipline required to sustain the household. Adults coordinate labor meticulously, ensuring that storage, preparation, and rationing strategies are optimized, often exchanging surplus or specialty items with neighbors to reinforce social cohesion and communal resilience. Markets adjust to the seasonal transition, offering the final harvest items, preserved foods, and winter necessities such as firewood, textiles, and tools. Vendors and shoppers alike navigate these spaces with efficiency and purpose, haggling, negotiating, and exchanging both goods and news. The marketplace becomes a hub for preparation and social interaction, balancing practicality with entertainment. Music, storytelling, and occasional performances continue, though now often focused on shorter, indoor-friendly gatherings. Children observe these interactions, learning not only commerce and social etiquette, but also the subtle art of negotiation, observation, and cultural transmission. Adults engage with neighbors, friends, and relatives to coordinate shared resources, plan for holidays, and discuss communal challenges, reinforcing the interdependence of households and neighborhoods. Social and recreational life adapts to shorter days and cooler temperatures. Outdoor games become limited in duration, and activities shift to indoor spaces when possible. Courtyards still host small gatherings when daylight and warmth permit, while evenings are dominated by fires, stoves, and lanterns that create intimate, comfortable spaces for storytelling, music, and social interaction. Music becomes a tool for warmth, entertainment, and cultural continuity. Stringed instruments, flutes, and percussion accompany songs that narrate historical events, moral lessons, or imaginative tales. Storytelling flourishes, expanding in complexity and depth, with children and adults alike participating as listeners, performers, or contributors to the narrative. The interplay of light, sound, and scent within these spaces fosters a sense of community, comfort, and engagement that transcends the limitations imposed by weather and daylight. Clothing and personal care reflect the seasonal change. Lighter summer garments are replaced with layered fabrics, woolen wraps, and protective footwear to maintain warmth and comfort. Repairs, previously deferred, are revisited, and clothing is mended, reinforced, or supplemented to ensure resilience against cold, wind, and precipitation. Children learn these habits through observation and practice, internalizing lessons in resourcefulness, foresight, and personal responsibility. Even seemingly mundane tasks such as adjusting layers, cleaning footwear, or mending a sleeve carry cultural significance, embedding knowledge of practicality, aesthetics, and social expectation within daily routines. Evenings in late autumn are characterized by concentrated social interaction, warmth, and reflection. Fires crackle, filling rooms with light, heat, and a subtle scent of smoke mingled with the aroma of cooking food. Conversation encompasses daily events, communal concerns, moral lessons, and reflections on seasonal changes, while storytelling weaves together history, personal experience, and imaginative narrative. Children fall asleep amidst this ambience, absorbing rhythms, language, and cultural values that will guide their understanding of social structure, seasonal cycles, and communal responsibility. Adults continue planning for winter, assessing supplies, coordinating shared resources, and reflecting on accomplishments and challenges, ensuring that households remain prepared, resilient, and socially integrated. Festivals and religious observances mark late autumn, providing opportunities for communal celebration, reflection, and renewal of cultural identity. Preparations for these events involve intricate coordination, cleaning homes, arranging food and decorations, and rehearsing music or performances. Meals become more elaborate, incorporating preserved foods, seasonal vegetables, and special pastries that signify abundance, gratitude, and continuity. Social interaction during these times strengthens community bonds, teaches cultural norms, and reinforces the rhythms of shared life. Even as days shorten and temperatures drop, residents find ways to engage, entertain, and sustain both themselves and their neighbors. weaving together the practical and the celebratory into a seamless fabric of daily experience. As late autumn deepens, life becomes a delicate balance of work, preparation, leisure, and reflection. Each task, whether collecting, preserving, cooking, mending, or conversing, carries layered significance. Practical, cultural, social, and emotional. The city responds to these rhythms, providing structure, opportunity, and sensory engagement that guide behavior and foster cohesion. Residents navigate these patterns with skill and adaptability, cultivating resilience, continuity, and satisfaction while preparing for the challenges and opportunities of the approaching winter. In this way, the ordinary existence of an Ottoman inhabitant in late autumn demonstrates the intricate interplay of human agency, environmental awareness, and social interaction, revealing a life that is both disciplined and richly expressive, both practical and profoundly human. As winter firmly establishes itself, the city transforms into a landscape of muted colors, frosted rooftops, and streets glistening with ice or wet from snowmelt, creating an atmosphere both serene and demanding. Mornings are short, often shrouded in mist, compelling residents to rise early and use daylight efficiently. Breath crystallizes in the air as people step outside, their movements deliberate, mindful of slippery pavements and the sting of cold on exposed skin. Children, wrapped in layers of wool and fabric, still find ways to play, though games are shorter, quieter, and often closer to home. Adults navigate streets with purpose, attending to essential errands, preparing fires, gathering water, and ensuring that supplies, clothing, and shelter are sufficient to face the harsh days ahead. The rhythm of daily life has shifted. Activity is more concentrated, social interaction is purposeful, and warmth, both physical and social, becomes a primary concern. Winter foods dominate the household kitchen, emphasizing sustenance, warmth, and storage longevity. Hearty stews, porridges, and soups are prepared with root vegetables, grains, preserved meats, and legumes, often simmering for hours to concentrate flavor and warmth. Dried fruits and nuts add both nutrition and a touch of sweetness, while breads baked in the hearth provide daily sustenance, filling homes with a comforting aroma that signals security and continuity. Dairy products, fermented beverages, and lightly spiced foods maintain balance and variety in both taste and nutrition. Children observe, assist, and taste cautiously, learning techniques of cooking, seasoning, and timing that ensure efficiency, flavor, and preservation. Adults coordinate meal preparation, storage, and rationing with precision, understanding that sustenance during winter is both a practical and social responsibility, ensuring that each household member is cared for and that communal obligations are met. Outdoor activity is reduced by cold, shorter days, and icy conditions, but the city remains alive with sound, movement, and interaction. Children play near heated spaces or in small courtyards, inventing games that incorporate snow, ice, or simple indoor objects, while adults complete essential errands, maintain infrastructure, or visit neighbors with warmth and purpose. Courtyards, when accessible, host music, brief games, or social interaction that reinforces community ties and shared understanding of the season's demands. Indoor spaces expand in importance. Fires, stoves, and lanterns become central to comfort, work, and entertainment. Weaving, sewing, storytelling, and music fill hours previously occupied by outdoor labor, providing both practical engagement and psychological warmth. The shift from outdoor to indoor life highlights adaptability, resourcefulness, and the human capacity to cultivate joy, learning, and connection even when environmental conditions are challenging. Social life during winter balances preparation, celebration, and reflection. Families gather to maintain communal warmth, share meals, exchange news, and participate in shared tasks such as mending clothing, repairing tools, or arranging firewood. Storytelling becomes an essential feature of evenings. Tales of history, morality, adventure, or imagination are shared in low, steady voices, captivating listeners while providing cultural education and moral guidance. Music, played softly on strings, flutes, or percussion, accompanies these narratives, creating layered sensory experiences that blend learning, entertainment, and emotional resonance. Children absorb rhythms, language, and social norms in subtle, enduring ways, while adults coordinate events, maintain household stability, and foster communal bonds. Even casual conversations carry lessons, insights, and reflections that reinforce identity, shared knowledge, and cohesion in the face of environmental hardship. Winter festivals and religious observances punctuate daily life with moments of celebration, reflection, and communal engagement. Preparations for these events involve careful planning, cleaning homes, preparing special foods, arranging decorations, and coordinating visits or gatherings with neighbors and relatives. These occasions provide not only joy and diversion but also cultural continuity, teaching children about seasonal cycles, spiritual practice, and social etiquette. Meals for festivals incorporate preserved foods, seasonal produce, and special pastries, often shared with neighbors to reinforce reciprocity, gratitude, and mutual support. Music, dance, and storytelling enhance the atmosphere, blending practical, emotional, and social dimensions in a rich tapestry of experience that sustains both body and spirit during the darker months. As winter progresses, residents cultivate a rhythm that balances work, leisure, preparation, and reflection. Tasks such as cooking, preserving, mending, and maintaining infrastructure are integrated seamlessly with storytelling, music, and social interaction. Observation of the natural world, the shortening days, the behavior of animals, the patterns of frost and ice, guides decisions, timing, and priorities. Children internalize these rhythms, learning practical skills, social responsibility, and cultural values. Adults, meanwhile, navigate the challenges of environmental change, social expectation, and communal responsibility, ensuring the stability, resilience, and continuity of both household and neighborhood life. Even ordinary routines are imbued with significance. Tending fires, preparing meals, or repairing clothing is both functional and symbolic, reflecting foresight, care, and shared cultural understanding. The ordinary life of an Ottoman inhabitant in winter reveals a delicate interplay of human skill, environmental awareness, and social interconnectedness. Each day is structured yet flexible, shaped by natural rhythms, seasonal demands, and communal obligations. Work, leisure, celebration, and preparation coexist, creating a life that is both disciplined and rich in meaning. Residents navigate challenges with adaptability, resilience, and attentiveness, cultivating warmth, sustenance, and social cohesion even in the coldest, darkest months. Observation, learning, and participation are continuous, ensuring that knowledge, tradition, and practical skill are transmitted across generations. In the quiet, luminous evenings by the fire, listening to music, stories, and conversation, one glimpses the profound depth and richness of ordinary life. A life intertwined with nature, community, and culture, where every action carries purpose, meaning, and connection, sustaining the human spirit through time, season, and circumstance.